Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Korra Book 3 news update video, but I'm also going to cover some Avatar comic news as well. So there actually is a decent amount of news this week. I'm just going to get straight into it. I'll start off with the fact that Coronation Phase 1 has ended, and Phase 2 will be starting soon. Now obviously this is the kind of relaunch of Coronation, and definitely they have improved in this new kind of restart. And what they've done actually now that Book 2 is over, is they've actually changed their website, and it now says Book 3 is coming soon, as you can see here from this screen grab from the site. So it says right there, Book 3 change, coming soon, name of the book is up there, official. This thing is run by Nickelodeon, not really by Mike and Brian, because we know that Coronation put the last two episodes of Book 2 up online, and Mike and Brian had no say in that. So this is Nick saying that the show is coming soon, which is a really good sign, I think, that they have faith in the schedule, because we know from the wait for Book 2 that Coronation weren't saying anything about it up until about a month beforehand. So potentially, we're getting Book 3 before Comic-Con next year. This is a really good sign for that, I think. Continuing on the trail of the Book 3 news, Brian, in this new thing on iTunes called Inside the Book of Spirits, mentioned that a little bit of Book 3 information. It's a quote from him. It's not the best quote. It's pretty crazy. I'll just read out the important aspects of this, and that is that he says in the fight between Giant Spirit Korra and Unavatu basically put these spirit vines all over the city, and now with the portals open, he says that there's crazy jungle vines growing all over huge sections of the city, and they're like the spirit wilds from Wan's time, and they've kind of cropped up throughout the city. And now there's going to be spirits hanging out in those, so a lot has changed, and it's only a few weeks later. So what we get right there is that there are going to be these sections of the city where these vines are still all over the place, and that's where the spirits are basically going to live in the city, as a kind of mix between human technology, some parts of the city, and then these kind of spirit vine covered places being the spirit kind of parts of the city. And that's going to be a really interesting dynamic, and I think it's a nice bit of continuity as well, because I fully expected when I saw those vines taking over the city that come Book 3 they'd all be gone, they'd just be completely forgotten about, and that okay, they just cleaned up the city. But the fact that they're staying there is a really interesting dynamic, I think, and that's going to be really cool. But it's just a minor little bit of Book 3 information. Final bit of news I have to talk about is some Avatar comic news, and that is that Free Comic Book Day 2014 is going to have an Avatar comic. Like last year, we had the May free comic called Rebound, which, here's the cover. You've probably read that. This year is also going to have a free comic book as well for Avatar. Free Comic Book Day this year, 2014, is going to take place on May 3rd. And we're going to have a free comic about Sokka and Suki, with Suki being the main focus. It's going to be written by Jean Luen Yang, and we're going to have art by someone new, and that is Faith Erin Hicks, and she did the cover of this, which you can see here. And I think she did a pretty good job on it. It's a really interesting art style, like Ryan Hill's from last year. It's a very different art style than Team Gurihuru, but it still is overall really nice, and I'm very interested to see how this works panel to panel. We have a brief description of this comic as well. It says, in Avatar The Last Airbender, Sokka follows Suki as she gives a lesson in manners and encourages a young girl's strength. So this kind of really fits, I think, the Sokka-Suki relationship, in that in 104, The Warriors of Kyoshi, she thought Sokka that women can be just as strong as male warriors and stuff like that, and that women can be warriors while also still being a girl and stuff like that. That was the whole kind of lesson of that, and the fact that he's gonna kind of follow her around doing her job and see her kind of inspire other girls like this. So this is going to be a really interesting one. kind of seems to be aimed at the kind of younger audience, you know, with a young girl as being the kind of new character focused on in this, and you know, especially with Korra being the main character in the new show out right now, they're definitely really kind of trying to bring in some of the female audience to this with the comics and stuff like that. So really interesting idea, I think, for this, especially, you know, with the new artist on board. The artist did on her Tumblr blog, which I'll link in the description below, mention that the comic is going to be 10 pages long, and that the cover that I just showed you was actually done months ago, before the full story of this was even in place. So the front of the cover really doesn't tell you anything about what the story is going to be about, apart from the fact that, you know, Sokka and Suki are going to be in it. It's going to be in a comic with a Hellboy story and a Re-Exodus story. And other than that, yeah, it's going to be obviously available free if your local comic book store is participating in Free Comic Book Day. It's still 5 months away at this point, so just less than 5 months. So, you know, I'll keep you guys updated if we get anything else on this, like a preview page. Hopefully we will, because I remember last year the preview for the free comics left out the Avatar stuff, so maybe we'll get a preview this time around. But I'm really excited for this. I like the idea of bringing a new artist on board. I was a little bit like wondering, like, oh, what happened to Ryan Hill, because if Tim Gurihuru and Jin Yang are doing the creative work on all the standard comics coming out, The Rift, The Search, The Promise, when are these other artists that they're giving a little chance to going to get their kind of big chance? I really think that they do need to expand out Avatar comics, maybe start releasing 2 comics every year instead of just the one, because like this year The Rift is the planned like yearly comic book series. I think that maybe they could do a second one, you know, maybe have Ryan Hill on art, kind of a mini-series type thing with maybe one of the writers from like The Lost Adventures or something like that coming on board. But yep, this is a good sign that, you know, as I said, last year Star Wars was the main focus of the comic. This year Avatar is the focus. So Dark Horse really have a lot of faith in Avatar comics as a way to bring people into their brand on their comics, and Avatar, they see that as a kind of really popular thing, so that's good. I'm excited for this story, you know, getting more on the Sokka-Suki relationship, hopefully, which we haven't seen much of in The Search and The Promise. That'll be interesting. And then, you know, just as like a self-contained story, maybe setting up something for the future, that's going to be really cool. So I'm excited. But yeah, that's all the news. Hopefully when Phase 2 of Coronation launches fully, they'll start putting out like concept art for book 3, and we'll have information there. But for now, that probably won't happen until like next year. But thanks for watching this news update video, and bye.